Okay, for this part, we're talking about compositions. The most important thing for you to remember is that you always want to start with your innermost parentheses. You always go to the inside, just like with order of operations. All right, ladies? Okay, so what's in the innermost parentheses here? On example 5, what is on the inside? Okay, and 3 goes with F in this case. Would you guys all agree? Because you have F of 3. Okay, so what do you think I'm going to do with that? Good. You're going to, well, first things first is we're doing our innermost parentheses. So what am I going to do with F of 3? Plug it into my F equation, right? So how do I find out the answer for that? What will I write? Correct. 3 times 3 plus 2. What is 3 times 3?
9.
Eric, you getting this? And 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay. So that means that F of 3 is actually what? 11. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this answer and now I'm plugging it in for F of 3. So when I rewrite that, how will I rewrite this problem right now? G of 11, because we know that F of 3 is actually 11, right? Do we all agree with that? So we found the answer for F of 3. F of 3, the answer for it is 11. So now I'm taking this F of 3 and I'm just substituting in 11 because I know F of 3 is 11. Okay, and so what will I do now? Plug it into G. So with G, I have now is negative x squared, so it's going to be negative 11 squared. Do you notice how this negative, the 2 is only touching the x? It doesn't have it in parentheses. So that means you're going to square 11 and the answer is just going to be what? Negative. So what's the answer? Negative 121 is correct. Okay, why don't you try example 6 on your own? Perfect. Trying example 6 on your own right now. Your answer will be a fraction. They're subtracting that. Okay, so it looks like a lot of you got it correct. A few of you didn't. So I start with G of 4. So I go to my G equation and I have negative 4 squared. What you need to remember is that negative was not touching, or the square is not touching the negative. So we square that number and we end up getting negative 16. So now I have this G of 4 was actually negative 16. So now I'm having H of negative 16. Right, Courtney? Yeah. So now I go to my H equation and I plug in negative 16. So I have negative 16 minus 2 over 5. Which makes negative 18 over 5, and it cannot be reduced. So that is my answer. Questions? Okay, moving on. Okay, notice here at the top, okay, on your homework in your book, change numbers 30 and 33 to be these F and G and H equations. They have some other stuff in there that's really complicated and you don't need to do all that. So again, on your homework, you're going to use these F, G, and H equations on questions 30 and 33. Okay, So we're starting with our innermost parentheses, correct? This is where you need to focus because we're dealing with x's instead of just numbers. So what is g of x? G of x is 2x minus 7. Do we agree? So if I plug in x, I'm going to end up with 2x minus 7. So that means I am taking this g of x out and I'm replacing it with 2x minus 7. So now I have to find h of 2x minus 7. So I'm going to pull a popsicle stick, and can someone please tell me how I'm going to write out h of 2x minus 7? So I'm going to repeat myself one more time. I'm going to pull a popsicle stick, and I want that person to tell me how I'm going to write my equation for h of 2x minus 7. Adam.
2x minus 7 plus 4 over 3.
That is perfect. Good job. Okay, so if you notice, whenever in the h equation for x, he wrote 2x minus 7, and then the rest of the numbers, you just rewrite them. Okay, so my next question is, at this point now, what do I do? Okay, so again, from this point, what do I do now? Mia. Exactly, we are just combine like terms and simplify. And do you know what the answer is, Mia? Perfect, and this is your answer. Except for it also says simplify and state the domain. Now, we talked about domain and range with fractions. Who remembers with fractions what we can't have? We can't have, what? We're not going to have i's. This one isn't a root, though. Do you guys remember with fractions here? What's the one number you can't have in the denominator? 0. Is there any way of getting a 0 in this denominator? No, because there's a 3 in the denominator. If there was an x in the denominator, that's when you could end up getting a 0 depending on what x equals. But if you just have a number in the denominator, that number will never change. Okay? Therefore, what would your domain be on this one? All reals is correct. Okay, example 8. I'm going to be pulling a popsicle stick. I want somebody to tell me what is my first step on example 8. So again, I'm going to pull a popsicle stick, and who can tell me the first step on example 8? Ureli. What is your first step on example 8? Good. G of x makes 2x minus 7. So my new problem is going to be g of 2x minus 7. So my next question for a popsicle stick is, what will I do with this now? How will I find g of 2x minus 7? Okay, Jessica. So how would you write it out? So our g equation, hold on a second. Our g equation is 2x minus 7, right? So wherever I see an x now, I'm going to put a 2x minus 7. So we'd have 2, and then what was it? 2x minus 7, close your parenthesis, and then what? And then just minus 7. So this is how you have to be careful. So this is my g equation, right? And we know that we have g of 2x minus 7. So wherever you see an x, that is where I'm plugging in the 2x minus 7. So that's why I have 2 times 2x minus 7, and then I still have a minus 7 at the end. Do we see that? Okay. So now we are going to do what? Anybody? Distribute. Good. So we can simplify. So we distribute the 2 through. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. And then I have minus 7. And last we combine our like terms. And so I get 4x minus 21. Okay? So that's my answer, except for I need to also state what my domain is. Anybody know what the domain will be? All reals is correct. Okay, because we're not dealing with any roots here. We're not dealing with any fractions. So basically, any number will end up working for this. Okay, example 9. Why don't you guys try example 9 on your own? And when you get your answers, you can show me on whiteboards, or I will come around and check. No. Okay. A couple people got it right. Most of you got it wrong. The correct answer is 27x to the 4th. Good job. Okay. So, what is the equation for f of x? 3x squared. So that means this f of x goes away, and what am I putting there? 3x squared. So now I'm finding f of 3x squared. Correct? So when you go to your f of x equation, and my f of x equation, I'm just going to write it here so we see it on the board. We have f of x equals 3x squared. We are now, wherever I see x, I'm going to plug in 3x squared. So that means I'm going to have 3 parenthesis what? 3x squared squared. Okay, now this 2 right here is only touching the parenthesis. So we need to square everything inside. So when I square 3, what does that become? 9. And then when I square x squared, it becomes x to the 4th. And then I still have a 3 in front. And so I multiply that and I get all right.
Wait, and then we have to find the domain.
Yes, and then now you need to find the domain. So what is the domain on this one? All reals is correct. Because again, there's no roots, there's no fractions to worry about, so you can use any positive or negative number and you'll get an answer. Any questions? Okay.